So 30 lessons in 30 years in real estate. I'm Angela Stevens. I'm the team leader of the Hatch Homes Group. And I'm here today with my sister and leader of and part owner of Hatch Homes, Michele DesCombes. And we are going to be talking with our parents, the founders of Hatch Homes Group 30 years ago, John and Melody Hatch.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, you know, we think it's a huge accomplishment. We want to celebrate and commemorate like 30 years as a company. What are the stats, Michele?
Yeah, about 95% of realtors still make it through the first 5 years in real estate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually true for like business owners in general too. So we thought, you know, we've learned a lot in 30 years. So maybe these lessons will help realtors considering getting into real estate, people that are in real estate, or quite frankly, even just
some things like that. So again, we have 30. So John, what is our first lesson?
Well, the first one I came up with, I mean, there's many lessons in this session, but the first one was listening. It's so important to listen to your clients. It's very easy to assume what they need and want, but until you question and experience what they like and don't like, and really put some energy into that, you're not going to do the best job that you can do.
Right. Don't make assumptions.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really important. It's kind of like one of those basic lessons, but I think a lot of people overlook it. I mean, I have worked with a lot of other realtors that talk more than they listen.
Yep.
And so I think we just don't even know we're doing it maybe sometimes. So be intentional about that.
Yeah. You have to make it an intention. You have to be a good listener.
Yeah. And then the second really important thing, I think, is mindset. 99% of business success is mindset because it matters so much and we're pulled in so many directions that it's good to have a strong mindset, practicing gratitude and being thankful for the clients that we get to serve and the experiences that we get to share with them. I think that is being strong in your mind is really humbling and it just helps you serve your clients even better.
I think too, it really helped us get through like a hump over the years of where, you know, you can get really burnt out in this business. And us just doing like, you have gratitude journals filled. I mean,
it's been life-changing.
Exactly.
Really.
Yes, it really does help you have a strong mindset.
Yeah, it really does.
And I think that enthusiasm ties into that. You want your clients to be enthusiastic about the decision they're going to make. You want to have the energy for them to make them feel good and be comfortable with you. And enthusiasm really helps that.
Yeah. So there's many times, but sometimes when there's down moments because maybe a house they thought was going to be great wasn't the way they thought it would, and they need encouragement and enthusiasm.
Well, and nobody wants you to walk through their home and be like a Debbie Downer. Like, ew, this is your house?
You want to be excited about it.
Be enthusiastic. Right. So you are there to help them.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Yeah. There are always times when you're walking through a prospective client's house with the intention of listing it, and they'll bring up something that they think might be a negative. So the more positive you can turn that into, the better on. Yeah, the better impression that it'll be.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so next one.
Okay, next one. Okay. Don't chase the grass is greener on the other side. So this is what I mean. In real estate, we're super fortunate that we have things coming at us all the time. There's so many brokerages. There's so many like marketing things you can do. There's so like this person's doing something cool over here. You can get so distracted. And so, of course, a part of being a business owner and being in real estate is experimenting, finding your fit, right? Finding the right team that you should be on, finding the right brokerage. But once you've made that commitment, you feel like you found it, just, invest in it.
Stick with it.
Stick with it.
One of the big things we did in learning that lesson was to focus on our database, focus on our current database and clients, and give those particular value and attention rather than chasing after something.
Oh, yeah. And people are trying to sell us stuff all the time.
All the time.
Right.
Any business owner definitely has that, people wanting to sell them something. So once you know what you're committed to, it really helps you move forward through it.
Be compassionate. I think that's so important to have empathy and compassion and caring for your clients. So just live by that all the time.
I mean, I would say on that, often we do this all the time, and we get really wrapped up in what's next and the transaction and, getting things done, that it's really important to stop and be like, this person's going through a lot, moving is stressful.
Huge.
So yeah, I think that being compassionate where your clients are is super important.
Here's a really big one. The next one is pay your taxes.
Get a bookkeeper.
Get a bookkeeper, get an accountant. It took me far too long to realize that.
I remember.
Yeah, you've all been there.
We've all been there.
Through the tears and everything. So hire a bookkeeper, hire an accountant that you can trust, and just save the money, because it's awesome when you get these huge paychecks. You're like, woo! But remember to put some aside for taxes. Key.
I mean, how many people do we know that spend all of their money and do not save?
Big
pay their
problem
taxes?
for
It is.
realtors. Yeah.
I mean, I remember one year I had to work the whole next year just to pay my tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
So painful. Never want to do that. Don't want that for anyone.
Yeah.
Practice
next-
the golden rule.
Oh, the golden rule. Yeah, that's something I learned on one of the first training courses that I did, and I became aware how important it was to treat people the way you would want to be treated. And sometimes I've seen realtors take advantage and getting a little bit more than they give, and it's really important to think of the golden rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think early on we used to put that on marketing materials and stuff.
I get it.
Yeah.
Your goal is our goal.
Yeah.
It's Keller Williams as well.
Yeah. Great.
Oh, well, we are in a service business, really, and we have to be a professional and make sure that we are giving our clients good information so they can make an educated decision. It's a big decision buying a house, and you want to be right there with them and make sure that they are comfortable with the decisions they're making. So you can explain why this might be a good decision or why it's not. We are definitely in a service business. Our first slogan for Hatch House was service is an attitude.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Made DVDs again.
Oh my gosh. You sure it wasn't VHS?
No, he's always cutting edge.
He's always on the cutting edge. Yes.
So, yeah.
So next one.
Build a thick skin. I think that was really hard for me. I truly think that if it wasn't for my parents, I would not have stuck it out in real estate. I'm so glad I got over that hump, and I slowly but surely built a thick skin. But you have deal with a lot of rejection in this business. It's super competitive. You are dealing with other people's combative personalities, and for somebody like me who is a pleaser, who's very sensitive, I mean, very challenging. But if I look at how I was at 24 years old, getting into real estate versus now, oh my gosh, completely different
Big change.
person. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you just never, you have to, that's another good lesson I think that we had also was mirror matching. We meet all these people that, going along with building a thick skin, but it's also the lesson of mirror matching your client and knowing their personalities and learning how they communicate, so then you can communicate in their style as well. So you have to be really adaptable.
And like adaptable is a good word. Yeah. Because you're dealing with all kinds of different personalities. And if you're a sensitive person, somebody could rub you the wrong way. But it doesn't mean they're not going to work with you or anything like that. If you can be compassionate and be a good listener, you'll be able to relate to those people, even though they might not be somebody you hang out with all the time or something.
Yeah, it's meant to come on.
We've all had some exposure to disc analysis, so we know different personality styles. So you have to spot whether a person's a detail-oriented person, in which case you've got to provide them with the numbers and the figures, whereas other types of personality might be, we just want the bottom line, or we want to have fun.
Or don't fluff. What's the point? Yeah.
I'll never
Or
forget.
then you want to be best friends. You made that made kind of that way.
I'll never forget one, like early on in my career, one of my first like follow-up calls I was making to somebody that I met at like an open house, and I was like, "Hi, this is Angela. We met," and he was like, not that type of person. He was like,
Deep personality.
"Who is this? Why are you calling me?" And click. And I was like, okay, that went really bad. Mirror and matching, super important.
Yeah. Know your audience.
Know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Feel them out.
That's true. And I mean, another thing though, with that kind of is celebrating and having fun with them, because this is a really big deal for people. Like buying and selling a house is the biggest thing you'll do in your life, and it's also one of the most stressful things. So when you get to the end and you're closed, it's like celebrate that and have fun with it, because ultimately it is a fun thing to do and a really big accomplishment that deserves to be celebrated.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Celebrating. Okay, so next one, be flexible. I cannot emphasize that enough, right? A lot of people get into real estate, get into sales, being their own boss because they want flexibility in their schedule, right? But a lot of people, when they get into real estate, what they don't realize is that you are flexible a lot of the time to your client's schedule.
Yes.
And that can be really, really challenging. I mean, for me, I've got, I've had it where, like a client has to see a house at like 2:00 on a Sunday. I'm like, okay, great. Like I literally move mountains for childcare, for arranging my husband's schedule so that we can make 2:00 on Sunday work. And then they say, actually, it doesn't work. Like, let's do it the next day. And I could easily be like, but I gotta be flexible.
Still, but what do you say to me all the time? Have a 5-second funeral and move on.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yep, you can have your little moment, but you really this is what you got to do. Be flexible.
you have to prepare yourself for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say it's amazing being your own boss, right? And like being a business owner, because you do have that flexibility. Like, I can pick up my daughter from school if I need to, things like that. This is amazing. But a lot of people just don't realize like how it goes both ways. The flexibility scale.
Yeah, the opportunity to teach and educate. And I think it's an important part of learning, actually. You always learn something by teaching. And it's really good to pass on knowledge. That's a great thing about Keller Williams Brokerage. It's always trying to build people's knowledge and build from within, people helping each other. And it's very important in our team for us all to help each other. And
I think it's a huge compliment too when our market center wants us to teach a class for new agents.
Yeah.
Because there's constantly things like that, and like continuing education. And
that's only one caveat to that. It's just have to be very careful in educating your wife.
I think
What?
and the wife educating the
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that is like one of our passions for growing the team, and for me as a team leader is you get to a point where like, yes, you love helping people buy and people how to do a really good job
Well,
teaching.
exactly that. And that flows into the next one really well of always be learning.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, our market changes all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes on a monthly basis, weekly basis. It's always changing. And so we have to always learn new stats, new rules and regulations and laws. And so we can really practice our fiduciary.
Lots of change. And I don't think normal client realizes that there's so much change. And I mean, all the tools that continually coming up to help us and rules and regulations, all the paperwork.
Well, it's also a real big benefit of being on a team like us, because like you can go, you could do some research on and teach us all, and we'll just, and say vice versa. We're all like learning from each other and keeping up. Like if somebody hasn't done a listing appointment, say for a month, like you need to relearn, like what's the market doing? It's new month, new week.
Sure.
There are other work situations for other businesses where you constantly have to be educating yourself. But real estate it's really important. And really life itself, if you're not educating yourself, you're missing out. And it's boring. And you are not going to be as flexible with change, and change is a fact of life. So yeah.
I always
Learning as always.
I always remember I hear my mother's voice and when we talk about this, because I remember talking to her and saying, I was going to Los Angeles or somewhere for a course to learn something or participate in something. She'd say, look, you've been in real estate for 20 years. What the heck do you want to you know it all.
I think you need to travel for
I think it's really easy for somebody not in it to think. I mean,
but it's so important to keep educated and learning.
I think that also goes with our next lesson. Your next lesson is the traveling.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's something, we've believed in education from day one and always gone beyond the continued education that we're required to do. And some cases we've traveled a bit. We've joined groups and we've...
and you did the international.
Global property specialist, certified international property specialist, and we went to Portugal to get accredited there. We've been on Caribbean trips and been on a seminar in England. We've done all sorts, and we've learned a lot from that. And we've become better people because of that, and we can do more, contribute more.
Yeah, and that's another lesson that you tied in is networking.
Networking,
that's
so important. I've been in network groups for a long time. I've always believed that, and you guys have done really well at that.
I mean, our clients need so many things from us, and we need to have like good vetted professionals that we can refer to them. It's part of being helpful, right? You want to be able to refer good people. You want to it's really great too for us to learn different businesses, how different businesses run. That's really helpful in us having a strong business ourselves. We learned it from other successful business owners.
Leaking is
good.
Important. And it's fun. That's another one that you said another lesson was copy the good stuff.
Oh yeah, rip off and duplicate. It's so
R&D.
It's
R&D.
I mean, we meet on a lot of different organizations. We see things which are really good, and we copy the good stuff.
When you see something that is
working well, providing results.
You want to be able to do that.
Yeah. So we can
make it your own. Yeah. But we're not reinventing the wheel here. It doesn't have to be somebody's done it probably. We can just do it our way.
Yeah.
Well, and it really helps our clients, right? We see what's being really successful in another state or another city, and we can take that and be like, this is working. Let's have it work for you.
Yeah.
That also goes with the other lessons of being creative and thinking outside the box.
Yes. Yeah.
They do try to get it.
Yeah, sometimes you can get stuck in a real estate situation, and by stepping back and thinking outside the box as much as possible, sometimes you can create a solution. And that's happened many times with most of us, I think. And just putting a different energy and thinking cleverly, then we can come up with some solutions.
I think it's fun too, like getting creative with marketing or like finding new ways to do something
Yep.
in an original way or in our way. Like, that's fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next lesson is looking to the future. Look to the future.
That, I mean, a lot of our clients want us to have a crystal ball, right?
No,
Yes.
they always do. That's like a common line we say. Well, I don't have a crystal ball,
But we do have to look into the future.
yeah.
We have to. Well, that comes with the education, but you do have to always be thinking ahead and planning for, you know, the next house you're going to show, or all the little things that have to go in a row.
Yeah, and listening carefully to what economists are saying about what's going to happen with industry and real estate, and paying careful attention to what's happening now and what experts are predicting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That every week.
even like in a transaction though, like just being a problem solver, also you have to think in the future. Like you have to see, like this has come up before.
Yeah.
Like this could come up again. Like this, you know, like that's how we use our experience to help people, is we look into the future.
The other lessons.
Yeah. And like it comes from even like touring a house with them, like from experience, you can look at something and say, like, I think that might come up in the future.
Totally.
The other thing regarding looking into the future is a lesson I learned pretty early on. What's going to happen in 7-8 years' time when these people move out? What's this neighborhood going to be doing?
Yes.
Is it a growing neighborhood? Is it a evolving or gentrifying? Or what factors may affect values?
I mean, even for your client, I mean, I had a client this week that wanted, I think he was actually looking at a manufactured home. And I'm like, well, let's talk about depreciation versus appreciation, because that is looking at the future of protecting your investment.
Sure.
Like, what is your goal?
Yeah.
Like, let's look to see like when you need to sell this, or even if you're buying, like, oh, I just want to live somewhere for a year. Maybe buying isn't what you should be doing. So that's how we're also looking into the future.
Yeah.
Which is one of the lessons to exploring the facts and being aware of the information coming at us.
Explore facts. That.
But also the next one is embracing the technology and the change.
Oh, that's huge.
Like John's I love this about you. Like you've always been on the cutting edge of technology. It's probably your engineering background.
One of the first like websites.
Yeah.
I
that's
love
true.
that.
How many URLs at one point?
Yeah.
I think we had like a whole bunch at some point. And so I thought that, so I've always admired that. And like part of it, because I mean, technology moves so fast.
Yeah.
And you've always been on it and taught us also, like,
Just got my new iPhone yesterday.
yeah, you upgrade that phone immediately.
Well, and
We're really from our phones now, so that's something that you really had to embrace too. And I noticed that with, other people on the team or other people that we come across that are old, like been around for a long time. Not been old, I didn't mean that. I've been like old school. So I mean, embracing the technology and learning how to adapt with that is so important. And I find myself needing to do that too. Like AI's next.
Yeah.
It is.
I know.
It's like,
Well, we're using it. Yeah.
we're using it already.
already.
And the people that are not open to it are probably just not going to last. I mean, like it's you got to do it for your clients too. You got to do it for the best of your clients, not just about us. Like maybe I don't want to use ChatGPT, but like, like we could do, it's better for the business if we do, we incorporate it.
It's another part of being flexible because adaptable in our business, because we definitely have to embrace those things that we don't necessarily like.
Yeah.
you know?
Technology's often that.
Technology is often, yeah.
Well, and technology is always changing and advancing, so you have to be aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember even just when I got into real estate, what was it, like 17 years ago, something around there, we were doing carbon copy contracts. Carbon copy. I can't even.
That is so amazing.
That's in my generation. Like we were doing
That is weird.
It's so weird to think about how we like did business before
Yeah.
technology. Like
When you were doing it
Fax
before there was
machines.
GPS.
Most
I had
realtors
not-
didn't have email.
oh my
We
God.
had the big, thick real estate books. You didn't have
There was no
listings on the internet.
Yeah.
You had those.
You didn't have GPS. That's the
Thomas
thing.
Guide.
How
Did we live? How did we do
Because
it?
seriously,
live without my time.
I couldn't live without my GPS now.
I know.
Oh, and I
get lost.
yeah, how
I'd be
would I?
lost. How did you do that?
How did we live without cell phones?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's mind blowing.
That's a whole other video.
Quick, go there.
So what's the next one?
The next one is being the economist of choice.
All right. Yeah.
We touched on that a bit.
Yeah.
Huge.
No, we're watching the trends,
Yeah.
making sure that we know
Yeah.
the economic factors that play into.
Yeah. And that's really important, I think. And we look at those numbers every week and keep a tabs on what's happening.
Well, and it's part of us how important it is to be advisors for our clients. Like we're, like that's a goal. Like when you get to this point in your career, like you are helping people, you're advising them. And so being an economist of choice is like, that's it. That's what you got to
Which
do.
goes along with another thing that he wrote, studying the rules and laws, because those change. And I mean, every 2 years we have to retake our license. So we're learning updated forms, we're learning updated laws and licensing rules. But we have a fiduciary duty to our clients, and that's really important to know what's illegal and what's not.
Yeah, especially this year, cranky for changes.
Yeah, so many changes.
So many changes.
And ethics. We have to do an ethics course every 2 years or 3 years. And every other year. So in all times in, you have to be educated.
And pay attention to those, and that goes with the other thing you wanted to talk
Oh, so put everything in writing. Like this is kind of a theme of our like team retreat the year before, just of how important it is. Like we touched on it. Real estate, like buying and selling, is a lot of people's most stressful things, right? They're dealing with like one of their largest investments. Sometimes it's super emotional. A lot of people are not moving for happy things. Death, divorce. We've had a lot of that this year. So, when you are stressed out, you don't listen. You don't absorb everything. And I cannot like emphasize how important it is to put everything in writing. Like you have a conversation with somebody, recap it in writing, like document writing, because it will really pay off. Like,
and it helps your clients sometimes when they, but it also helps us.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great. It's great that we've got good tools to do that as well. So all our emails get captured.
Yes, I've had clients that after we've had a conversation, I mean, I've met with them or whatever, and I come home and that person will send me an email just so I have everything clear. This is what we discussed today. Is this right? And
that's a dream client.
That's a dream client.
I don't have any of that. I'm usually the one to try to recap it.
And if you don't have a client that does that, you probably should be doing it at least at some point in another conversation. But you have to make sure that things are clear between you and your client, and it's very important.
Yeah. Yes. Put it in writing, people.
This is another lesson: is role playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are super resistant to role playing.
Yeah.
I hate
It's not
it.
comfortable.
I don't like
Super
reading
uncomfortable.
stuff. It's not comfortable.
Yeah. But it's, like
practice
you're role playing in front of your client if you're not role playing it, practicing out. So I can pinpoint many a times where I messed up an appointment. I didn't get the business because I didn't know what to say, or I said the wrong thing. Right.
Yeah.
And if I would have practiced and role played before I went there, I would have gotten it. Right.
Yeah, because you would feel more confident. Like
You'd have your thoughts clear. You'd have clarity.
You'd have clarity. You'd be able to
Confidence.
listen. listen better, listen to their needs.
And when you're like role playing with a teammate or someone in your office or somebody, whatever, you could get a nugget from them that you're like, wow, that was a really good thing to say. I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
And so it's just makes you feel more confident. The next one is having a coach and asking.
Having a coach, yeah. Yeah, we were really early adopters, and I can hear my mother now. You've got a coach, you're paying all that money for a coach. Surely after 20 years, you know it all. And it's so important to have all top athletes have coaches, and it's so important to have a good coach. And we're fortunate, we've probably got the best coaches there are.
They're sometimes a lifesaver, really. Yeah.
I think my coach is a bit of my therapist a bit too, which I think you need that in this business. Maybe that should be a lesson. But no, I think a coach is super important. And I remember early on you always having a coach, and it's a huge investment. But man, I don't think we'd be here without our coaches. I don't think we'd be where we are today as a business.
It certainly has helped our success and staying strong and keeping up.
Yeah. I'll never forget one of the biggest listings that I really, really wanted, and it was a dream to get this listing. And I got it because of one thing that I learned from my coach, and I will just never forget it. And it set a trajectory of other listings that I was able to get since.
Those little nuggets are so important.
There's so many little nuggets.
Yeah.
And that goes with asking questions. You always say go 3 deep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can ask a question. For example, what are you looking for? Person goes into a shop, what are you looking for? Oh, I'm just browsing. Then you have to say, well, what are you browsing for? And the thing is to go 3 deep, because people don't like parting with information. They don't do it freely a lot of the time. So you have to do a bit of work and just find out enough information so you can help them.
Yeah.
I like that 3 deep, not 20 deep. Because I'm guilty of that sometimes with new people that I'm meeting at open house or whatever. I'm asking a bunch of questions and I could tell they're annoyed. Why do you even know this? So, but if you keep it just 3 to 5, whatever, however the conversation flows, I think that's really good advice, John. Yeah. And that goes with something that we talk about a lot is the buyers are not liars.
There's a saying, buyers are liars.
Well, this is one of the first things I heard in real estate when I got into Windermere in those days. Listings last, buyers are liars. And so they're telling you, John, you've got to focus on listings, and buyers are liars. You don't want to spend time with that. Yes. And I like buyers.
Yeah.
And they're not liars. They just don't like freely parting with information. So you have to do a bit of work, and you have to listen to them, ask questions, and they will tell the truth.
Yeah.
When you start helping
it's also
them.
about being flexible. I mean, we always meet with the buyer. They say, I absolutely don't want this. This is not happening. I don't want this. And then they send you a property that's exactly what they said. So that's where that But that's just a part of being flexible and going 3 deep and understanding okay, you say you really don't want that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Very good lesson.
Well, it always goes down. But I always say this to my buyers and other people, you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So if buyers are liars, it's because they didn't know. They didn't know what they should be asking.
This house is horrible. I would never want a house like that. But this bedroom is my dream.
Yeah.
And I really must have that house because it's got the bedroom that I really want.
Yeah, buyers need to be flexible too.
Yeah.
Flexible with there.
Yeah.
This is our last one.
Yes.
Last 30th lesson.
Words matter.
Yeah. Yeah, the way you talk to people and the words you use are really important. You can get very emotional buying and selling real estate.
If you say the wrong thing, It will for you. And so
Well, and
we're
more leaving a lasting impression, right? People don't always remember the exact words you say, but they remember how they feel.
Yes.
right.
And they can be powerful, and they can provide powerful emotions and feelings, and it's our job to make that.
Words
Six.
matter. That's why, put things in writing too.
Right. That's true.
The other one. Most of all, it's like leaving someone feeling confident in you because of how you presented, what you said, because you're knowledgeable, because you're flexible, because you're grateful, because you're enthusiastic, all those things, that's impactful.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And it's been 30 amazing years.
Yeah.
It's gone by very quickly.
Oh, we're so proud of you girls.
Yes, we are very proud.
No.
Tears on this video, John.
We've been a strong team, and it's just really been quite a ride.
Well, we're
A
excited,
legacy, and we're proud and honored.
and we're excited to take it another 30 years, take Hatch Homes in 60 years, 60 lessons in 60, or yeah.
Yeah.
We're recruiting all the children.
Yeah, we have to get more kids in here.
Well, thank you for watching, and thank you for 30 amazing years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. So grateful.
Yes.